Yes, Brother Taalik, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I am Minister John Cooper. I live in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. And I was watching, someone had sent me a video, and I was watching it, and I think yours popped up on the sidebar. I never heard of you before. When you get time, give me a call if you can. I did a sermon and finally got a chance to do it at church. I am a minister, but I'm not active in the pulpit. I'm deciding to speak, basically trying to teach and getting our people ready and those that will listen. And this minister allowed me to do a lesson this past Tuesday night. Basically, my wife said, "Man, you were saying the same thing this guy's saying now, John," and it just blew her mind. And I just thought to present to that congregation who we were, and we don't want to be black, and what is happening to America. It is falling, and those kinds of things. And they were looking at me with their mouth hung open, and half of them probably couldn't receive it, half did. And I just want to commend you for your work that you're doing. And I'm looking at some of your other videos now. And any way you can help me, if you got a mailing list, I can get on, or email list or anything, I would appreciate that help. And material you have that I can continue to teach and get out to our people, because it's a critical time right now. God bless you, and I'll look for your call.
Hi, my name is Deborah Kennedy. I live in Texas, and I listened to Taalik's video regarding failure of prayer and God's so-called promises. Things. I was just elated. I thought it was just very insightful, and I commend you all for putting something out there like that. That we lean too much on what we're told somebody else is looking out for us. And we have philosophies or teachings like that, and we're supposed to be developing that in ourselves. And I appreciate Taalik's his powerful delivery. You don't need to call if you're busy, but I just want to pass that along. I was very impressed. Thank you so much. You take care now. Peace and love.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on social media, the internet, or some of y'all still call the World Wide Web. I am known wherever you may find me as the mighty, mighty, mighty Angel Snup Nup 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would like to take these few moments just to casually speak with us on a subject many of us have probably spoken of and had general conversations. So I would like to add my little opinion on the subject. And that is our spoiling our children. Spoiling our children. No matter how rich, no matter how poor, parents, because of love, we spoil our babies. Now, I personally do not have biological children, but just recently, children have come into my life. And prior to children coming into my life, being a single person with no children, when I watch parents, regardless of their economic stature, I wonder why they spoil their children the way they do. Why you can't put your foot down and be firm. Being a single person, you're not connected to another human being like that. You really don't understand that such a thing as putting your foot down, trying not to spoil your child, that's more easier said than done. So I began to think about it, and I began to understand that when love, when care is involved, this is part of a parent. And a parent wants the best for their child and wants to do what is best for the child. And you have that parental emotion inside of us that when a child cries, when a child hurts, as a parent, it is in your nature to step up to the plate to protect that child from harm. So when the child cries, you want to cease and put and desist that which is causing the child to cry or bring that child some type of harm. What I have learned and continue to learn, and brothers and sisters, friends and family, and those listening, even enemies listening to this broadcast, I am never, listen y'all, we should never be so arrogant to believe that we know it all. We should not be so arrogant to believe that we can't learn something every day, that we are know-it-alls. So although I have lived on this planet, I have been told, for over a half century, I am still learning, and we still learning to the day that breath leaves this physical body. So in this, what I am saying to us, that we must stop judging people. We must stop judging children. We must stop this judgment that we have of other people. And the reason why we must stop judging people, regardless to who they are, because most times, in fact, chances are 95% of the time, we judge with prejudice. And we judge with prejudice because we have never walked in the shoes of the person that we're judging. We don't know. We don't know their experience. Because I am a single person, I am judging those who are parents when I have not walked in their shoes, so I don't know the full dynamic of what they're facing or what they're dealing with. It should be easy. And it is easy for a single person since I am not connected to another human being like that. We should stop judging others with prejudice. Many of us call ourselves black conscious. Many of us are pro-black, black nationalists, whatever we may call ourselves. This even goes to us, and it makes us grow as human beings, even when it comes to Caucasian people. We must understand that racism, the activity of Caucasian or pink supremacy, those involved in that, most of them were born, it is the only life that they know. Caucasian people as a people have been brainwashed through the generations by their leadership who chose this type of system or mythology in order to put themselves on top of the world. In order to grow or get to the top of the world, they decided we're going to crush those who are already in the world, the dark people of this planet. And we are going to get to do our labor and produce out of the dark people a super slave. And the super slave are the descendants of slaves born in America. And they called us Negro and gave us a brand new name. In fact, they call us black because black did not exist until a racist mythology came into existence, and they decided to make those with dark skin, put them into a category so they could be more easily exploited. And we became black and Negro and colored, a brand new race or species of people that they bred up out of the dark people of this planet. So we are related to these people, but we are really not of these people. We are the products of genetic infiltration or genetic, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they caused a brand new being to come from out of the dark people of this planet that they decided to exploit and destroy. So, being a Caucasian person, and they are also ignorant of the history, they are ignorant of what has actually happened and don't know. It is unfair and it is prejudice to continue to judge people when we have not walked in their shoes. Now, our job is to teach them just like we are teaching our own people. It is only fair, it is just because many of them are ignorant. But many of them, that's not our priority, but they must also understand. And it is very difficult for some of these Caucasian people to understand because racism or Caucasian supremacy have put them in a position of advantage. Who would not want to be called superior? Who would not want to be or have an advantage over other people of this planet? So that is the reason why many of them will not listen to you or me when we try to explain to them what racism, what Caucasian supremacy really is and what has happened to both people in this situation. And of course you have descendants of slaves born in America. Slavery is the only life that they know. And they don't understand what has happened to us. But it is very easy to spoil a child. And when you have no children, it is easy to judge those with children. I will say this again. When you have no children, it is easy to judge those with children because you have not dealt with and have no idea of this interaction between parent and child. It is not easy as it may look. So, I took my child to a car lot. We have a certain budget in mind. And I tell this child that we have a certain amount of money that is allowed for this vehicle. And I do want this child because they are going to college. And I am not around a lot, so I want them to have a dependable used vehicle, but within a certain budget. So we walk around the car lot and we find a decent car. In fact, we find some decent cars, but the poor child, don't like any of the cars that's within budget. Then finally, we find a vehicle that is actually many thousands out of budget. And I said that we can't do that. That's out of budget. So, as many of you parents know, children, they pout, and I said we're going to have to go with this because this is within budget. If we buy the other vehicle that's out of budget, it's going to put financial strain on the family. And the child says, okay, I understand. But they all sad and droopy, and you know this is my first experience. And this affects the parent. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or host of this particular program, known here on the internet as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I'm your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would like for you to listen to me. You don't have to, but since you're here, just give me a few moments of your time and really just truly think about what I'm telling us. Are you ready? Here we go. Don't you know? I don't know if I have the appropriate time correct, but I do know that it's close to 100 years since Marcus Garvey and the descendants of slaves born in America. We have had some of the greatest teachers. We have had some of the greatest orators. We have had some of the greatest freedom fighters that the world has ever seen. My spiritual teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, he called himself the last messenger of Allah. However, if you believe in that ideology, this does not mean that out of the mercy of God that we still won't continue to receive warners. I am a warner to us. whether you like it or not. And out of what some of y'all in religion say, out of God's mercy, this God brings to us warners. And you need a warner because you have left up out of the realm of reality. You've taken religious teachings, you've even taken political ideas, and you made religion out of them, and you become lost in your delusions, in your fantasy, and your arrogancy in these things that you created, not some God. And I am here to warn us who are descendants of slaves born in America that time is not going to wait on you. Time is not going to wait on you. Some of y'all think in this fight for black liberation, the upliftment of black people in this country, you think that this is going to go on forever and ever. You got all the time in the world to get your act straight. That's not how life is. That's not reality. Only the mentally dead will believe such a thing. Because when you're dead, or whenever anything dies, time no longer exists. Time is no longer a factor. The dead does not care, and it is not a requirement that you are in a line with time when dead comes to us, or when death comes to us. There is no doubt, brothers and sisters, that we who are the descendants of slaves born in America, you deserve healing. And you deserve happiness. And you should be put in a place, a better place, due to our 400 years of suffering. There's no doubt about that. That we, out of all, deserve to have a chance at heaven, or as in the Quran calls it, the hereafter. We should have the first opportunity to experience the afterlife. But since we are not in accord with time and we're not doing things in the appropriate manner, in your mind, time is going to wait for you. But that's not true. Not when you are among the living. When you're standing at a bus stop and you don't get there on time, then the bus will leave you. However, out of the mercy of the bus driver, should they see you trying to catch the bus, they might stop. However, if you were on time, the bus driver should stop and allow you on the bus. But time is not going to continue to wait for us, brothers and sisters, for you to get your act together. We as a people get our act together. Unfortunately, and the reality is, sometimes you can't help nobody. Sometimes people are doomed. When you go to a place of rehabilitation and you try to treat the cocaine addict, the heroin addict, the alcoholic, whatever, many of them will be helped. Many of them, for a short period of time, they might look well, they will relapse. Some of them you can't help at all. That's the situation that we are in as a people. Some of you think that we are just going to be a saved people. That's not necessarily true. And that's not a reality, because that's not life. It takes the average, and it is normal, for 9 months to bring a child in this world, a human baby. And within that 9 months of development, the organs must develop in its appropriate time. Everything must develop correctly. If not, the child can be born dead already. DOA, dead on arrival. The child can be born with a physical handicap. The child can be born mentally challenged. The other word is retarded. and there's really nothing wrong with the word. They just don't like it. Sounds really bad. Mentally challenged. Or the child could be both physically handicapped and mentally challenged. This is what you're seeing among the descendants of slaves born in America. Some of us are being born dead. Some of us are handicapped and retarded. You see this in black liberation struggle. We are still, with all our so-called knowledge and information, you are still dead. In fact, the majority of y'all still worship the dead. You worship Muhammad, dead. You worship Jesus, dead. You worship Elijah Muhammad, dead. You worship Malcolm, Marcus, they all dead. And you give the living hell. And with dead people, time no longer exists. That's why you think you got forever. And you're not making and refuse to sacrifice and make the appropriate choices and take the appropriate actions in order to change the condition of us as a people. Only the living understand time. There's a time to eat, a time to have sex, a time to go to your job, time to go to the grocery store, go to basketball practice, football practice, choir rehearsal. The dead, that's not a requirement. There is no understanding. Time does not exist for the dead. Time has stopped for the dead. And although you are not physically dead, since you are still mentally dead, you think that time is going to wait for you. But it's not. Time has never waited for nobody that's alive. Animal, plant, anything living must do what it must do within the appropriate time. Because time waits for no one. And if you are not in accord with the time, and since you don't respect time, then time will eventually run out and you die. We must do things in the appropriate time, in the appropriate manner. You must begin to understand that you think that you are mentally awake or mentally alive. But the reality is you're still mentally dead. And you can argue with me all that you want to, but your actions verify and support and validate what I'm telling us. You continue to act and behave mentally dead, and pretty soon you're not even going to be physically alive. We keep talking about the genocide, the extermination, and the extinction of black people on this planet. That's going to become a reality because you refuse to act in accord with time and you claim that you are alive. And what do the living do with the dead? You bury them. You cremate them. You get them out the way because dead things begin to decompose and they stink. And they spread disease. So what is happening to the black man and woman, not only in America, but around the earth? You're being exterminated. You're in the way of the living. You need to be buried. You're decomposing. You're causing a great stench for the living. And in my conclusion, I want to tell us, there are many of you, you believe that you can go or you can build a new civilization in the condition that you are. You believe that. No. You still have the mentality of your oppressor. You still are covered with the mud. You must relieve yourself of all the things that you've grown to love and know in this life. You must begin to change everything. You cannot bring mud into a new house. So if you want to go to heaven, if you want to see the hereafter, you must rid yourself of all the mud that was put on you or placed upon us in this world's life. You and I will not be allowed to enter, nor will we be allowed to be the creators of heaven on earth in the condition that we're in, smelling and carrying the muck and the mire of a decadent civilization and cultures and confusion. You don't even know who you are. You are Egyptian. You're a Hebrew Israelite. You're a Muslim. You so many different things. Heaven and the hereafter is not confusion. And it surely is not a place of death. It is a place of life. Not to say men and women will not die in heaven or die in the hereafter. Because everything in our reality that's alive will eventually die. But these things that we can in the name of my ancestors. Peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition, perhaps rather exciting edition, of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on social media as the mighty Angel Snub Nub 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I'm sorry I had to laugh. But you know, I said I am your brother and hopefully your friend. You know, after this video, some of you definitely say, yeah, you ain't no brother of mine. Woo, let me get this. It's nice to laugh. That's good therapy to a certain point. But don't laugh your life away, because really you are in a position or you are in a condition that is really not funny. Now, my subject that I've chosen to speak upon in these few minutes is my additional commentary on interracial, some people say intercultural, whatever. It's interracial, basically. It's the interaction of races or the intercourse of races or species of others. Interracial relationships. Now, in a perfect world, we would not, and there is no need to have such conversation. However, unfortunately for us, living in this period of time, but if it was in the appropriate time, which y'all can't wait for, because y'all got to have some Caucasian penis, y'all got to have some Caucasian vagina. Nobody else loves me. Black women reject me. Black men reject me. I just got to have love. I'm just so full of love. In a perfect world, and in the appropriate time, there would be no need for this conversation. But of course, as you know, this is not a perfect world. So clearly, it is not the appropriate time. Because that which made it a imperfect world still exists. And it still exists because y'all still feeding it. And you're not taking the appropriate actions to destroy it because you love, so you want to give a false, image. You want this delusion that everything is sort of all right, it's getting better, when in reality it is not. It is not, because you have not done things appropriately in the correct time. Interracial relationships. If we're going to use, there are other species or races of people on this planet, but I want to talk about the Caucasian pink black folks interracial relationship, because usually that's who we love. The people that enslaved our ancestors, that destroyed our towns, that destroyed our businesses, that shoot our young boys and young men in the middle of the street, who deny us proper housing, deny us proper employment, still to this day, we love. And if we get a little something, we really love, because now we're comfortable in the racism. And we really love because Paula and Jack and Annie Mae, they ain't like the other white folks. But yet and still, very few Caucasian people actually take a stand against the racism. Because if they took a stand, really, if the majority took a stand against the racism, there would be no need for me to say nothing or even have a YouTube channel dedicated to the things that I say. And I would be happy to shut my mouth. But because this is not a reality, then I have the right to continue to speak, to let young brothers and sisters and even older brothers and sisters who need to wake up their mind so they can see the reality of the situation that we're in. If a Caucasian person, if a pink person really love you, then they would love you enough to say, look, I know you have feelings for me, I have feelings for you, but my love for you, black man, my love for you, black woman, it is better that you find your love with somebody in your own race, in your own species there, because of what has happened in the past. This is not the right time. And you need to learn, black man, you need to learn, black woman, how to love yourself, because chances are, if you love yourself, you wouldn't love me anyway. That is a Caucasian person that is speaking truthfully and in reality, not a deceiver and a liar. If you go out into the forest and you find an eagle that has been hurt, and then you take that eagle and you help mend that eagle and bring it back to health, do you keep it in a cage for a pet, or you let that eagle go back out into the wild and be a real eagle? There are people who have actually tried and still put an eagle in a cage and incarcerate the eagle. But yet and still they talk about how much they love. You did not find the eagle in a cage. You found that eagle, although it was hurt, out in the wild. You found these black people in a slave-like condition. We were hurt. And they put us in a cage called slavery for 400 years. But instead of releasing us, you decide and continue to make us your pet. If the black man and woman, the descendants of slaves born in America, if they were in their right state of mind, if they had any idea of what it really meant to be free, they would not want you. But since they are filled with self-hate, since they are products and have become domesticated by Caucasian people, then they have a love, a sick love for their oppressor or abuser. But again, in their right state of mind, just like that eagle, since that eagle knows what it meant to be free, that eagle is not interested in your love. That eagle wants to get out of that cage and go back from whence it came from. And if you had any kind of heart, and if you really love the eagle, you'll open up the cage, since now the eagle can fly on its own and go back to what it was doing. You'll let that eagle go. But just like Moses in the Bible, the prophet had to go to Pharaoh and tell that Pharaoh that God said, let my people go. So now there are voices like mine and many other black people telling the racist Caucasian people, let my people go. If you notice in these interracial relationships, the black person is always the European, has a European mentality. But you never see the Caucasian person trying to be an African, trying to be Swahili, trying to be Liberian, trying to be some type of African. It's always us still being a black Oreo cookie version of you. If it was the other way around, you would not care anything about interracial relationships because you don't lose nothing of yourself. But the black man, the black woman involved in interracial relationship, they have lost everything that is of them. They are not black. They are nothing but black skinned versions of Europeans. And you don't mind that. That's why you're comfortable with black people, because they're nothing but copies of you with black skin. If they were something other, you wouldn't like it. And you would have nothing to do with them. You would not love and want to love them. I take that back, because there are some Caucasian women, there's always exception to the rule, who don't mind trying to be African, trying to be black. They like the black culture. But that's not the majority. A good majority of you are fakes and frauds. If a dog, the Caucasian people's best friend, if the dog was not domesticated, and you know you have a dog as a pet, if that dog was not domesticated, that dog wouldn't have nothing to do with you. If that dog lived a wild life and could think like a person supposed to be able to think, but clearly y'all don't think that way, that dog wouldn't care nothing about you. That dog would not love you, and because that dog want to be a dog and go and be with other dogs. That dog would not care nothing about being with human beings. But because that dog has become a slave and domesticated, this dog has a sick love for a slave master that don't even look nothing like himself. It was because the dog was enslaved. And it is because of slavery, because black folks of this country have suffered 400 years of slavery and don't know no other life except slavery. They've fallen in love with the oppressor. They have fallen in love with the slave master. That is the reason why black people are attracted to Caucasian people, because we were enslaved. There's always exceptions to the rule, like I said earlier. But history, and many of you are history buffs, many of you know there is nowhere in history as a people in the name of my ancestors. Peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program. Excuse me, I just have something funny on my mind. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I am the Angel Snub Nub 7, the host of this particular program, known here on social media. Wherever you may find me, they call me the mighty Angel Snub Nub 7. I'm your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. This is one of my videos. I am very sure so many in the quote unquote black conscious community, black nationalism, black whatever, they will become upset. And really, I could care less, because it is time for you to get upset and change your ways. Because clearly these ways are not working for you as an individual. You pretend they do, but it is not working. And surely it is not having the appropriate effect upon us as a people in order to change a horrid condition, to bring life to those of whom you call mentally dead. However, it says in scriptures in the Bible that the blind cannot lead the blind. So technically, since those of us who are making this claim, since truly in reality you are blind yourself, pretending you can see, sleepwalking, then it is no shock and no surprise to me that even though there are thousands of you out here, the people continue to remain in a horrid condition. Well, what about you and your Snup Nup 7? There are not thousands of people like me, but there are thousands of people like you. So the people are giving you an opportunity to show your stuff. What you gonna do? And you continue to fail. But you make pretty videos and you say pretty words to give yourself an illusion as though you got it going on. But then when reality sits in, you get upset because when you look in the mirror, you're looking at the face of failure. Beautiful words, and you might have a little something, but you claim as though you represent and want what is best for us and change the condition of descendants of slaves born in America, and you are far from getting the job done. In fact, you're going backwards, and you're staying in the past, and you're tripping off dead people that can no longer help us, and you reject and ignore the living that came from the black woman's womb whom you prayed for. You prayed for the existence of somebody like me. You prayed for somebody like King Noble. You prayed for somebody like Sarah Seti. You prayed for us. And we come unto our own, and our own receive us not. I want to ask you, who made up this word, black conscious? The only time I heard of this word, black conscious, is when I began to listen to videos and interact on social media. I'm black conscious. What is that? What is black conscious? I don't understand it. Someone has to really explain to me what it is, but I tell you of how I see it. I don't like the name black conscious, and I'll tell you why. Well, conscious. What is conscious? Conscious is simply being aware. If somebody is in a boxing ring and they get knocked out and you fall on the floor and they give you some smelling salts and they slap your face a little bit and they say, wake up. They just want to find out if you are conscious. Do you realize where you're at? Are you awake? That's all that it means. Conscious does not mean, and clearly, if you were knocked out on your backside in a boxing ring, conscious does not mean you're going to do anything. Conscious does not mean that you can do anything. It just means that you are aware. I understand. Yeah, I'm here. I see you. That's all conscious means. Then we have the word black. And black is simply a color. It does not mean melanin, because there are many things that's black does not necessarily mean it has melanin and all this pseudoscience that we hear all the time. Black is just a color. And the reason why we put black is because we were attacked by a people who called us black in order to make us inferior. So now we take the black and we try to make it positive. However, in the English language, we do know that black means cursed, unrighteous, evil, and so forth. It is a very negative description, and it was given or forced upon us as a people. And then we are trying to make the word black positive, but at the same time, look at the negativity and look what we do so that it would rather continue to describe black as evil, as unrighteous, cursed, and so forth. Even so, how conscious do you have to be that you're black? Don't you wake up every day? Don't you see your skin color? Dark brown, black, however you view it, we are called black people. This is something that you're so unconscious that you have to be taught. Even Uncle Tom Negroes know that they black. They might don't want to admit it, but in this world, we are called black people. You don't have to be that conscious to understand that. So let me describe some of these, quote unquote, not all of them. Matter of fact, many of you are good at heart. Let me make that perfectly clear. The majority of you are good at heart and you are sincere in your black consciousness. However, there are negative forces within black consciousness that gives you, just like in religion, there are many wacky Christians that make Christians look bad. There are many Muslims that make Islam looks bad. There are many people in black conscience that make what you call black conscience look very, very pitiful, pathetic, and bad. There are many calling themselves black conscious. They are sitting in jail for stealing from black people, for assaulting black people, even murdering black people, but yet they are black conscious. Black conscious don't mean you're going to do anything. Black conscious just means that I'm aware. But it's not enough to stop me from killing black people. Woo! Did you hear what I said? Black conscious just means that I'm aware, but it's not enough to stop me from making mockery of black people, murdering black people, stealing from them, lying on black people. It just means that I'm aware. Even so far to say, and we can even add so-called black nationalists. There's a black nationalist who actually called the police on me. I did not do anything to this person. Ask this person what I done, and they cannot prove and show no evidence that I caused them any harm that they did not deserve. So if I did anything, it was in response from being assaulted or attacked by a black nationalist. But this is a black nationalist, and I've never done anything to them, and they want to call because they know of my past with the racist criminal justice system. They want to call the police and place false charges in order to get another black person locked up in the racist system. Then they're going to make a video talking about the white man or Caucasian people and their racist system, and they run around trying to get black people in the system. Y'all fake hypocrites. Woo! Black conscious, black nationalism, they so fake. What did a black man, what did anybody do to any of you? They deserve to be You steal from them, lie on them, try to get other blacks in the racist criminal system, murdering another black man. What did these people do to make you want to do that? But then, see, you just aware of your blackness doesn't mean that you love. It don't mean that you love black people. There are thousands of you who claim black conscience. And when you look at the thousands, whether you are sincere or insincere, when you look at the thousands of people that claim black conscience, first of all, again, conscience just means that you're aware. It don't mean that you're going to do nothing. But when you look at black conscious folks, thousands, they are confused. They are still filled with self-hatred, jealous of one another, divided, and above all, ineffective due to confusion, due to division, due to they are just being aware, but it don't mean they're going to do anything to change the condition. Lazy, couch potatoes, television watchers, video watchers. And in reality, they are scared of the racists. A bunch of comfortable Negroes. The majority of them hide behind pictures on social media. It's thousands of you who claim black conscience. Meaning, again, you're just aware that you black. You had to be taught that, which is a crying shame. And you're learning all these high sciences from Kemet and what these other people done and ancient people that you don't know nothing about. Ain't none of these people taught you nothing. Nobody from Kemet taught you nothing. Ain't no Hebrew Israelite taught you nothing. Ain't no Moor taught you nothing. All these are manufactured thinking processes that you trip on because you're afraid to face the enemy straight out. So you studying for what? It don't take much to study warfare. It don't take much to bang on the beast. What you need all this study for? What you studying? So we can know. Raise up the teachers. The teachers can teach the children. But again, just because you black conscious don't mean you're going to do nothing. Thousands of people in black conscious. And you're not, and have done nothing beneficial to our people. A bunch of hypocrites. In fact, I would even go to say that y'all are a bunch of Uncle Tom upgrades. Because if you're not doing nothing to face this enemy, and it's thousands of you, and you ineffective. In fact, you are hurting black people more than the enemy. Then you're a bunch of Uncle Toms, and you are an enemy to black people, because you only are aware of being black. But that don't mean you're going to do anything for the black, or you love black people. My time is running out. I just wanted to put that out there. If you think that you got a better argument, you can refute what I'm saying, bring it on. It's going to get shot down. With that said, jot down your comments. Love talking to us as a people. Wake up and face reality. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth.